Greetings to you all watching from wherever around the world. If you're new here, please just kindly click on the subscribe button and get subscribed such that whenever there is a video up, you would follow in real time. Now, topic of the day is a very shocking one. It will shock a lot of people. Jesus actually returned a long, long, long ago. Now, you've been told since you were born, Jesus is coming soon. Your grandfathers told you Jesus is coming soon. The fathers of your grandfathers told you the same thing. Now, it's either Jesus and his apostles were lying, which makes them fake prophets, false prophets, or they spoke the truth, but the Bible has been twisted and there is some serious brainwashing all over the world, making it possible for people to search for the truth themselves. So we'll go through the Bible ourselves this day. And after this, you'll decide for yourselves whether Jesus lied or the world is simply lying to you. We'll start with the book of Revelations, Revelations chapter 1. So we're starting with the apocalyptic book, Revelations chapter 1. I'll read directly from the scriptures and just be noting this down because you may not be able to follow with the speed at which I would go with things. Revelations 1, verse 1. This is the revelation of Jesus Christ, which God gave him to show his servants what must soon take place. So this is the revelation of Jesus himself, which he gave to his servant John and other servants, because there's an S there, of what will soon. The word is soon. Now, God is not talking to you reading the Bible today. This is what was told to God's servants 2,000 years ago. 2,000 years ago. So God is talking to John. It's not today. He's not talking to you now. And God says, what is about to happen, Jesus saying himself is bearing witness to this, will happen soon. Soon. The word is soon. Now, before you get into in God's eyes, 1,000 days, one day is like 1,000 days and 1,000. No. Let's just get into the context and see if this is referring to soon or something that is to occur 2,000 plus years later. It's the Bible talking. I won't quote anything out of the Bible, and it's the same Bible you have before you. So this is the revelation of Jesus to his servants about what is about to happen very soon. It's soon. That's the key word. Now go down to verse 7 of this apocalyptic book. This is the book of the end time, the end of the age. And there is a difference between the end of the age and end time. It's a big difference. So verse 7 is what catches my attention. You need to open your minds. Don't come here with preconceived ideas. Look, he is coming with the clouds. I'm reading directly from the scriptures. That's verse 7. He's coming with the clouds, and every eye will see him. And this is what is very key to the verse. Even those who pierced him would see him. Now, those who pierced him, the Romans who nailed him to the cross, are they still alive? Key questions you must ask yourself. Are they still alive? I don't need to answer the question, but just for the sake of the argument, they are dead long ago, 2,000 plus years ago. Now, let's see if this is consistent with other biblical verses, if this language of very soon and those who pierced him would see him coming. Okay, you just need to turn to Matthew 26, verse 63 to 64. Matthew 26, verse 63 to 64. Just be jotting down. You would follow up. Now, Jesus is before the high priest, judgment. And the high priest is asking him a number of questions and he's quiet. And at a certain point, Jesus speaks. 63 to 64. We are in Matthew 26. Don't forget. Jesus tells him that he, the high priest, will see the Son of Man coming down in the clouds of heaven. Is Jesus talking? This is consistent with what we just read in Revelations 1 7, with God telling John, who wrote this down according to the Bible, that those who pierced him would see him coming. Now, in Matthew 24, that's the apocalyptic verse of the gospel, it's even very glaring. Now, the apostles are with Jesus and they are asking him, what are the signs of the end of the age? Matthew 24, just go through yourself. And Jesus is telling them that a number of things would happen. And when they see those signs, they'll know it's time. Jesus is not talking to you today in 2023 or 2022. He's talking to his apostles 2,000 plus years ago. He's telling them that they'll see, among others, great tribulation. They'll go through a lot of persecution. They, the apostles, who bore witness to Jesus. And all of them were persecuted. A lot of them killed, nailed to the cross, burnt, stoned. All of them were persecuted. And then the temple will be destroyed. That's Matthew 24. The temple would be destroyed. Has the temple been destroyed? Yes, AD 70. Some say AD 66, some say AD 68, but it's between AD 66 and AD 70. The second temple was destroyed. And they saw the abomination it was done by the Romans. The Romans took over, destroyed almost every place, sat in the temple, converted all converted the Holy of Holies. That was done by the Romans. I don't want to go into too much detail so that I don't make this too long. All that happened in AD 70. And the apostles insist on when will these things happen. And Jesus tells them something now very important. In that very 24th chapter of Matthew, he tells them, I think it should be Matthew 24:34, that this generation shall not pass until all these things be fulfilled. God is not talking to you reading the Bible today. He's talking to the generation of the apostles. This generation, your generation. It's rhyming. Everything is consistent. The verses are consistent. Before all of the apostles die, he will return. It's Jesus talking, not me. Now, in Matthew 16:28, Jesus makes another stunning revelation. He tells the apostles he's talking to that there are some of them that are standing there that will not die before he returns. So he will return in their generation, in their lifetime, before all of them there die. Another clue in very clear, ambiguous terms. Now in Matthew 24:14, when Jesus is recounting the apocalyptic, the end of the age, he tells them something very key. He tells them that when the gospel is preached to the ends of the earth, then the end will come. And a lot of people are hung on that verse to say, no, the gospel has not yet been preached to the end of the age. No, sorry. Paul and the apostles say the contrary. Turn to Colossians 1:23. Paul tells you that the gospel has been preached to the ends of the earth. Now, you have to distinguish what the ends of the earth means in the context of the apostles in that generation and to what we have today. We are talking of a time where there was no technology, there were no telescopes, there were no technology in general. So when they were referring to world, they were talking about their immediate hemisphere. They're talking about Israel and its persecutors, the Romans, the Babylonians, the Assyrians. That's the world they're really referring to, limited there. And just in case, as I mentioned earlier, we still thought that was not the case, then Paul is telling you in Colossians 1:23 that the gospel has been preached to the ends of the earth. The whole world has witnessed the gospel. Paul repeats this in Romans 1:8. The gospel has been witnessed to the ends of the earth. In Romans 10:18, same story. Paul repeats it repeatedly to the Corinthians, the same. But Romans 10:18, the whole world has borne witness to the gospel. It has been preached to the ends of the earth. Now, if with all this evidence, you still think Jesus has not come, or he didn't come during the generation of the apostles, then it makes Jesus a liar, and the apostles same liars, therefore making them fake prophets who ought not to believe them. It is very glaring that Jesus returned during the lifetime of the apostles, as he had predicted. This generation shall not pass. He returned. Now the question is, how did he return? The question should be the how and not the if. And that's what we'll be looking at in part 2 of this series. Go through the scriptures yourself. Go through all the verses. And mind you, it's not I, the humanitarian, talking. It is Jesus himself talking. And there is no argument, because you always have people who want to spiritualize over everything in the Bible. There is no disputing of those biblical verses. Start with Revelations 1:7. Those who pierced him will see him coming. If those who pierced him are still alive, I would really love to see how they look like. The world has been manipulated to an extent that the truth is a lie, and the lie has become the universal truth. It's called the Great Reset. It was reset long, long, long ago. And those waiting for Jesus, still waiting for him to come, will have to really wait for a long, long time. Even in their graves, they will be waiting.